Hey everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do my January 2009 book haul, which is the first book haul of the year. This book haul contains 13 books in total. All of them are either science fiction or fantasy, and 4 of them are science fiction in translation. And I will talk about the translated works at the start of the video. And the first of those translated works is The Core of the Sun by Johanna Sinisalo. Now, I bought and indeed have already read this due to Rachel, whose channel is Kalanati. Rachel talks about books enthusiastically and makes me want to buy books on a regular basis. And indeed, this is one of the many books I bought because of her. And I'm really glad I did because this was extremely good. Now, the idea of this is that this is a totalitarian state in Finland, and the government basically controls every aspect of people's lives, and in particular the procreation of its population, because there are 2 sort of subclasses of women, well, basically the breeding class and the non-breeding class. The non-breeding class are basically women that are basically more intelligent and considered too independent for the government's liking, essentially, and the breeding class are, as far as the government are concerned, the easy to manipulate women who just want to have children, and that's all they want to do, or at least that's what the government hope anyway. And this is an interesting story where there's one woman who is basically pretending to be the opposite of what she is, and nobody knows about it, and it's a very interesting idea overall, and it was a really good book with really good solid ideas, and I really did enjoy this greatly. The next book that I've read, which is a translated work, is Yukikaze by Hoki Kambayashi. I hope I am pronouncing that name correctly. And this is by Haika Soro Publisher, which is an American publisher who deals specifically, I believe, with Japanese translated fiction into English, of course. And I will read the back of the book. More than 30 years ago, a hyperdimensional passageway suddenly appeared over the continent of Antarctica, the first stage of an attempted terrestrial invasion by an enigmatic alien host. Humanity, united by a common enemy, managed to push the invaders back through the passageway to the strange planet nicknamed Fairy. A special air combat force was then created to go there and eliminate the alien bases once and for all. And the next section is, now, in the midst of a war with no end in sight, Second Lieutenant Roy Fukai carries out his missions in the perilous skies over Fairy. Attached to the 5th Squadron of the FAF Special Air Force, an elite tactical combat and surveillance unit, his duty is to gather information on the enemy and bring it back, no matter the cost. His only constant companion in this lonely task is his fighter plane, the sentient FFR-31 Super Sliff Yukikaze. Okay, I did not know the title of the book was related to the fact that it's a name of a sentient AI fighter plane in space, which sounds slightly strange, although by my standards quite normal because I'm used to reading about sentient AIs and things. And it sounds a really interesting book, so I'll be quite interested to get to. This does sound particularly fun and enjoyable, and I know this does have, I believe, 2 sequels as well. So if I like this, I may well be buying the other 2 in the fairly near future. Also, the next book is The Stories of Ibis by Hiroshi Yamamoto, and I'll read the back of this. In a world where humans are a minority and androids have created their own civilization, a wandering storyteller meets the beautiful android Ibis. She tells him 7 stories of human-android interaction in order to reveal the secret behind humanity's fall. The tales Ibis tells are science fiction stories about the events surrounding the development of artificial intelligence, AI, in the 20th and 21st centuries. At a glance, these stories do not appear to have any sort of connection, but what is the true meaning behind them? What are Ibis's real intentions? So this is a short story collection essentially. All the short stories are very heavily interlinked, Obviously the links are going to be very, very hidden, and that is going to be the point of reading them, try and figure out how they interlink in some intricate and probably really thought-provoking way, which sounds frankly fantastic. And also I think the cover of this is frankly fantastic as well. As an aside, I don't normally mention covers particularly, but this does have a particularly nice cover. The fourth and last translated work that I'm going to talk about in this video is the Ouroboros Wave by Jyouji Hayashi, and I'll read the back. 90 years from now, a satellite detects a nearby black hole. Scientists dub Kali for the Hindu goddess of destruction. As human society expands to Mars and beyond, the generations-long project to harness the power of the black hole pits the retrograde humans of Earth against the eminently rational men and women of the Artificial Accretion Disk Development Association. I wouldn't want to say that too many times in a row. While conflicts simmer, a mystery within Kali itself tests the limits of intelligence that of both human and machine. So again, this has some form of artificial intelligence, whether it's full sentient AI or whether it's just, sort of controlled and aided AI. I don't know, but it sounds curious, and the idea of building some sort of technology around a black hole and harnessing it, kind of like an alternative to the Dyson Sphere, which harnesses obviously the power of suns, is a curious one. So I'm quite interested to get to this, and it should be quite interesting, I reckon. The next 3 books are the first 3 books in a series by Jonathan L. Howard, and these books are Jonathan Cabal the Necromancer, Johannes Cabal the Detective, and finally Johannes Cabal the Fear Institute. Now, I have already read the first one of these, and likely so much that I immediately bought the second and third, which I have not read yet. Now, I bought the first of these because of a fellow booktuber, Andrea, whose channel is Infinite Text. I'll link these channels in the description below, of course. And she made the first book sound really interesting and really fun, and indeed it really is, because the main character is called, unsurprisingly, Johannes Cabal. He's a necromancer. He works for the dead, brings back the dead, does stuff with them, basically sort of serve his bidding and become, the evil man in town. In the first book, he is in control of a travelling fair on a train. He's not a very nice character, frankly, and he's not meant to be. He's immoral, but you kind of half agree with what he does, but not really, because overall he's very, very selfish. So he's interesting, and because of what he does, he's also quite amusing in a very dark and sort of black humour way. But I really did enjoy this book overall, and I'm very eager to get to the second and third overall. The next book is Mission of Gravity by Clement, and yes, this is one of the Yellow Spine SF Masterworks. Frankly, what book all of mine would be complete without one of the Yellow Spines in it? Now, I've already read this book, so I'm not going to say too much about it now because I'll talk about it in a wrap up or something. But suffice to say, it's an interesting idea where basically humanity has had a satellite crash land on this planet called Mescaline, and they cannot retrieve it themselves because the gravity of this world is 700 times greater than Earth, which obviously we cannot biologically survive, we'd just die, and even our technology cannot really survive for the most part because it's just affected by the gravity too horrifically. But there is a sentient species on the planet, and indeed we do basically deal with them. If they can go and retrieve it, we'll basically help them out with certain things. And it's an interesting book because it's both humanity talking to these sentient species on the planet, which is very much non-human like in any way. They're essentially like giant or weird bugs, think of it as. And it's a curious one, but it works well because the relationship between them and the humans and the way they have to sort of travel about this world. It's kind of like the alien species adventure on their own world, which is frankly strange by itself. It's really interesting, and I actually quite enjoy this. Actually, at first I was like, I'm going to enjoy it, but actually it goes much better than I thought it was. Next up is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. Now I've heard multiple people talk about this book in the last 3 to 4 months, and I thought for a change I would actually read a book that is actually being commonly discussed, rather than waiting 2 years after the event, which is my usual habit. And this one is quite an interesting book which I liked but I didn't love. And the basic premise of the book is that a newly married man, who happens to be a school teacher, on his honeymoon he goes to visit the Tower of Babel with his new wife. However, she goes missing, or is kidnapped, or something happens to her. He doesn't really know what, and all he knows is that he has to ascend the tower, ergo the title. His name is Thomas Senlin, if you didn't know. And it's an interesting concept, and a concept that I thought was really good. One thing I've heard about the book, though, is that the main character is apparently likeable. I've heard other people say. And my main thought is not. The main character is actually dislikeable quite heavily. I really didn't like him as a person. I thought most of the time he's a bit of an idiot, frankly. But the concept of it and the overall idea of ascending this tower and trying to go on the different floors of the Tower of Babel, because nobody knows how high it is, whether it even has an end, because of course traditionally infinite. It's an interesting one, and one that I'm quite curious to get to. The other books, I should say, because I liked it, so I am curious. Now the next 2 books are the books 1 and 2 in a series, and that is the Vater's Peace series by Elizabeth Moon. This is Cold Welcome, book 1, and Into the Fire, book 2. And I also think the covers of these are really, really nice as well. Now, these are the sort of sequel series, I suppose you could say, to her original series from over 10 years ago now, called the Vater's War series, which is a 5-book series which I read last year and I greatly enjoyed. I thought they were fantastic. These 2 books carry on fairly directly from the end of the Vater's War series, and frankly I don't know much else about them, and I don't need to, because I loved the Vater's War series. They were fantastic. It is military science fiction with a bit of humour, brilliant characters, brilliant world, and just really good, well written books, frankly. And I'm really quite excited to get to these in the very near future. I will probably be reading them probably in February, in fact. The next book I brought is due to Rachel Canardi again, because I can't go a video about blaming at least twice in now, and that is Semiosis by Sue Burke. Rachel read this either last year or the year before, I think it was last year actually, and she really enjoyed it, and she did a review of it. Her review made it sound really interesting, hence why I bought it. Now, I cannot remember the plot of the book anymore, however, because it's been quite a long time since I watched her review, so I will read the back of the book. Right. Escaping conflict on Earth, an idealistic group of settlers arrive on a distant planet, Pax, with plans for an ideal society. The world they discover is rich with life, but this is not the Eden they were hoping for. The plants on Pax are smart enough to domesticate and even slaughter its many extraordinary animals. Right. To survive, the colonists realise that they must strike bargains of their own, but if they are to make Pax their own, they must go further, searching for a way to communicate and coexist with these utterly alien intelligences. Now, first of all, I can now instantly remember why Rachel liked this, because it deals with linguistics and language and communication, which is her massive interest, and it seems to be one that I'm getting quite a lot more interested in recent years. And this sounds particularly interesting. It's an alien species that we have to interact with. We're not sure how, and there's obviously going to be miscommunications and trouble there. So this should be an interesting one. So yeah, I'm quite happy to get to this. The 13th and final book is Glass and Gardens, Solarpunk Summers, edited by Sarena Ulibarri. Now this has, I personally think, the nicest cover of any of the books in this particular book haul. It's got a very simplistic cover, sort of very cleanly drawn. I just really like this sort of clean, simple style, and I think it looks really nice here. Now this as you might have guessed from the title, Solarpunk is within the Solarpunk subgenre, and it is a short story collection by many different authors. Most of them, I believe, I have not heard of, which is completely fine by me. Now, Solarpunk, the subgenre, is one that is relatively little known, but it's essentially the idea of a utopian which relies on solar and renewable energy supplies, and indeed a kind of like a sort of perfect society. Really does focus on the utopian side, and the opposite of a dystopian type novel where things go wrong. This looks on the more optimistic side of science fiction in a very positive way, which appeals to me because I consider myself an eternal optimist. So a book about optimistic science fiction where the world actually goes in a really good way is frankly ideal to me, especially in these political days where there's a lot of terrible things going on and idiots around the place. This actually sounds like it would be a bit more cheerful, which is exactly what you sometimes need. Something cheerful. So with that said, that is it for all of the books that I've brought in January. I always tend to buy a lot more books at the very start of the year for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's just because I like to have a bit of a boost with interesting new books maybe at the start of the year. My idea is that I should not be buying many more books now until the middle of the year, but I've said that before and failed. So we'll see. I'm going to try not to buy too many more books frankly now for a while, but we'll see how I go. If you've read any of these books or you would like to, then please let me know and we can have a conversation about it in the comments below. If you have any suggestions based on these books that you think I might enjoy, then please again leave a comment. I am always happy to have suggestions and recommendations on new books, new authors, new subgenres, whatever, because new books is always a good thing. All these links to the things that I mentioned will be found in the description box below, as well as all my social media links. And with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.